This time, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order.
They looked at my first really good.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Pearson.
Present.
Bradley.
Present.
Wolford.
Present.
Nichols.
Here.
Sanders.
Present.
Ware.
Present.
Okay. We do have a quorum. Welcome all in attendance and Happy New Year as we begin this 2016. Before we move into the public comments here, just kind of want to update a few things real quick. As many are aware, on Sunday, we had a fire near our street department. In that street department location, it was not the actual street department where those employees report to. It was the building in the back of that building, which houses a small office area where a lot of our water and sewer guys, they go into that office as well. The fire pretty much destroyed that office. It's it is a loss in that building. The cause of the fire is still not known. The fire marshal is conducting an investigation on that, and whenever I find out more information, I will get that information to you. However, I do want to acknowledge our many people of service who came to the scene that day. First of all, our very own Cahokia Fire Department, as well as the Camp Jackson Fire Department, Prairie du Pont, Dupo, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention our very own Cahokia Police Department as well. So thank you all for being there at that scene and containing it. We did not lose any equipment, and there was no injuries or loss of life. So that's what we did. And then moving on here, I just want to say this once again. We're into a new year here, and I look forward to working with all of you collectively, respectfully. And at the end of the day, although we may see difference of opinion, I still believe that we can agree to disagree diplomatically. But as long as the respect is there, everything else will work out. Okay? So, at this time, I'm going to move into the public comments. We have a few tonight. The first public comments that we have tonight, I'm going to go with Mr. Don Carlos. Mr. Don Carlos.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Guy Don Carlos for the record. At the end of the last meeting, Mayor, I made you aware of part of the Illinois statute on open meetings. So each body subject to this act at the beginning of each calendar year or fiscal year must prepare and make available a schedule of all its regular meetings for such calendar or fiscal year, listing the times, places of such meetings. Has any action been taken on that?
Yes, sir. You can come to the clerk's office tomorrow for all that.
The other thing I have noticed is that the Cahokia website has been down for a very, very long time, and that's an excellent resource for communications both ways. Hopefully some IT person is working on getting that back up and running.
Yes.
Thank you very kindly. In one of the previous meetings, you had mentioned that this was not the correct place or forum for questions from the public. And I was wondering if you could expand on what would be the proper venue. How would the public pose questions to the village, to the board, to yourself? Is there a format for that? Is there an ordinance that covers that?
At this time, Mr. Don Carlos, there is a form that needs to be completed the day of the meeting. Any questions or comments that you would like to discuss, you would need to submit that form by 12 o'clock of the
Okay,
not questions, but the meeting date.
comments are one thing, but certainly questions to the board, I would think would be, there needs to be some sense of venue. Comments can be ignored, questions generally require a response.
Thank you.
Okay. Also, I think I've previously addressed, we had some issues with an ordinance that was revoked, that was trying to replace the old ordinance for proper procedures for speaking at that meeting, at this meeting. So do we know which ordinance is in place? And I understand that the Illinois Attorney General's office has issued a binding decision about the latest one, which I think was the one that you actually repealed.
At this time, I'm not.
The latest ordinance is the one that's been passed. And the Illinois Attorney General has not issued any binding opinion.
Okay,
On the latest
excuse me,
ordinance.
but the board voted to repeal
I'm
that
not
ordinance.
going to argue with them, just telling us my opinion, the latest ordinance we passed.
I'm not asking you to argue with me, sir. I am telling you that this board repealed that ordinance.
Do your job.
I just have a question. So the binding or the determination that I received yesterday, is that not legitimate? So what you're saying is that you guys are not going to abide by that determination?
No, I'm saying it's not a binding opinion. I've been in contact with the Attorney General.
Okay, sir, you
And I've sent them our
also,
new ordinance and asked them for their comments. And before I wrote the second ordinance, I asked them for their comments before I did it.
okay,
So you're
sir,
saying that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You also stated in a previous meeting that there was nothing wrong with the procedures that the village had in place, and yet you attempted to pass an ordinance to repeal those and replace them with new procedures, which you actually repealed that one for confusion. But if there was nothing wrong with what you were doing, why in
I'm
the
not going
world
to sit
would
here
you
and
replace
debate
it?
you on what the law is.
It's your job.
Oh, we don't have to debate you, sir. We have the Illinois Attorney General's office to do that for us. Thank you.
Mr. Don Carlos, thank you.
But I just, so I'm clear,
Moving on, we do have other comments here tonight. Ms.
Mayor
Ms.
McCall, I
please.
just need to clear something up, so I'm confused.
If you, any comments that you have, Mrs. Deers, please put them in.
Kim, I've
in
got it.
writing.
I've got it right here.
Okay, because I'm confused now.
First of all, there was a determination made, and it was made on January 11th, and I have it right in front of me, and I have a copy for you, Mr. Sprague, if you would like that. We request the ending of it all, as we request that the board amend its rules governing public comment to ensure any restrictions on the public statutory right to address the board are narrowly tailored to further a significant governmental interest. So, and I believe they called you incorrect, Mr. Sprague, also in this. Just wanted to say that. So they made a ruling in our favor, the citizens of Cahokia.
Yes, yes.
And I understand they made a ruling in Donna Ayer's favor too.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank
Donna.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I made my comment.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. McCullough. And Donna Ayers.
Okay, I would like to just say to you, if you would just answer some questions, you wouldn't have all this going on. You wouldn't have to do anything behind closed doors, and just let us know what is going on. It's very simple. Answer the questions. They're not hard questions, unless you get them from Don. You know, so Guy Cornell. So other than that, I mean, it's self-explanatory.
He's
If
not
you
abiding
open
by
up
the
to us,
determination.
You're not going to have all this confusion. It's really simple. And you've been driving the truck. I get that out there on days that you're not supposed to be driving the truck. I seen you. 1:45 Saturday, coming from Centerville. Saturday. This is your own rule. Trucks are supposed to be only used for business. And, you know, I mean, were you on business?
Are you finishing this?
Oh, yeah, I'm finished. I just wanted to let everybody know. And I would like to know also if I could, is there any way I can see the tire in the rim? I mean, is it the evidence? Do you still have the evidence? If not, I'd like to see the tire in the rim. I used to drive motorcycles, and I'm just kind of curious about the accident. So that's all I got to say about it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Donna Ayers.
You're welcome.
Moving on, we are now going into, from our public comments into the minutes. At this time, I need a motion and approval for the minutes from board meeting on December 22nd, 2015. Need a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee West.
He said
Second by
that his
trustee
5 minutes
Bradford. Roll
commissioner
call,
had to
please.
submit it in writing.
Pearson.
He's not abiding by the
Bradford.
determination.
Yes. Wolford.
Yes.
Nickel.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
And Ware.
Yes.
Minutes approved. Next, payroll and accounts payable. Need a motion and a second for
I'm
approval.
calling the Attorney General tomorrow.
Trustee Nichols.
That Ferris Floyd here, he's getting a lot of work on the same trucks all the time, and the prices on his labor and his parts is awful high. He's got it down here to $26.45.87. He got down here materials and supplies. This is not an office, this is parts and service. I would like to see the parts he's put on these with the serial numbers, because I would like to look at the trucks myself. I'm very fond of trucks and cars. This does not tell nobody nothing material and supplies on trucks and cars.
Okay, well, any inquiries you have, we can get with Ferris and, we can get that data.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, I need a motion and a second, for approval.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Sanders, second
Second.
by trustee Pearson. Roll call, please.
Pearson.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Wolford. Nickel.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Ware.
Yes.
Approved. Next, report from chief and police, law enforcement. Before I turn it over to the chief, many of you are aware we had a house fire about a week or two ago, and several of our police officers could be credited as hometown heroes. I want to turn it over to the chief so he can explain.
Just 1 minute here.
Barry, you want to come join me? I'm going to apologize, I'm going to turn my back to you for just a couple minutes here while I set some stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
And if you know me, I got to have enough bag of water, just so we got some water here. That's just how I am. Okay. On Sunday, January 3rd, approximately 10:40 p.m., a call was received. There was a house fire at number 54 St. Ambrose. Lieutenant Gary Brewer was the first one at the scene, and he noticed heavy black smoke coming from the house. The front door was open. He yelled and attempted to discover if any occupants were inside. 2 people hollered from inside, and one of the people apparently hollered that she could not walk. Lieutenant Brewer entered the house with patrolman David Heine. Thick black smoke was inside. Visibility was about 2 inches in front of their faces. There was a 57-year-old female in the living room who was not able to walk. Lieutenant Brewer and patrolman Heine carried the female out of the house and placed her in the backseat of a warm patrol car. Patrolman Gary Craig and Courtney Ross arrived. They were told there was another resident still inside the house. A couple seconds later, Patrolman Eric Wazak arrived at the scene. All the officers present entered the smoke-filled house in order to find the remaining resident. At this time, the male person was no longer responding to the officers. Patrolman Gary Craig broke out a window and attempted to ventilate the smoke to increase the officers' visibility. The 76-year-old male began yelling he was all right, and he was located in a rearmost bedroom. The gentleman was initially refusing to leave the smoke-filled house. He was escorted out of the house by Patrolman Gary Craig and Eric Wazak. He was taken in the same police car so he could be with the female. An ambulance had been dispatched and the residents were examined. A relative arrived a short time later. The house quickly filled with thick black smoke. If it weren't for the efforts of all these officers present, we don't know how the situation would have ended, but we believe it would have been tragic. I hope that you join with me as we consider these officers heroes, and we would like for them to come forward. Lieutenant Gary Brewer, Patrolman Gary Craig, Patrolman David Heine, Patrolman Courtney Ross, and Patrolman Eric Wazak. in alphabetical order. And then we have a certificate from the mayor's office. We're gonna kind of give these out, and somebody, Grancel's gonna take a picture. Right. Start with Lieutenant Gary Brewer. Thank you. Put your arm around me if you want to get it.
Everybody else does.
Thanks, Mark. So that's how it probably should be anyway, and then we'll stand on each side. Then I put my arm around you. Very well then. Thank you, sir. One more round of applause for these fine gentlemen. You want to rate us by height, or how you want to do it? My height, I know I'm going that wrong. I'll be first, or last, depending on which way you look at it. We got one more here for Patrolman Sean Hunt. On November 12th, approximately 4:42 p.m., there was an Illinois State Police emergency radio broadcast regarding a trooper who was attempting to stop a vehicle in which the occupants were wanted for an armed robbery which occurred in Edwardsville. You may remember reading about that, where they have a drug deal gone bad and tried to rob. The vehicle was around 3 near Jerome Lane. The vehicle was stopped in the 900 block of Falling Springs Road by the trooper and by our patrolman Sean Hunt. When Patrolman Hunt was speaking to the passenger while the passenger was outside the vehicle, the person began to run away. Patrolman Hunt quickly grabbed the suspect and placed him in the handcuffs, and a 9mm handgun was located in the person's right ankle underneath his pant leg. The gun was seized as evidence, and the suspects were later turned over to the Edwardsville Police Department. If it weren't for Patrolman Hunt's quick actions, this matter could have resulted in an armed rat man running through the neighborhood and a shooting suspect not being captured. Both the driver and passenger were later charged with 3 gun-related felonies, and each were held to a $150,000 bond by the Madison County State's Attorney's Office. So Sean Hunt, come forward. In Sean's defense, he asked what he should wear tonight. He's not working, so this is what he's selected to wear.
It's okay.
Here you also get a letter signed by the chief.
Chief Purcell, since we're on your section of the meeting, can I ask you a question? Sure. Okay, first I want to say that the police department here in Cahokia, I've lived here all my life, and they are always heroes in my book. So they did something special today, but I've had nothing but great experiences with them. My question is, I had a conversation with Brendan Kelly today, and I'm still confused about this determination. Is it your intent to abide by the determination by the Attorney General's office?
told you I'm not gonna debate that. I've read the Attorney General's office and I'm already.
No, I'm asking Chief Purcell, because my conversation with Brendan Kelly was about Chief Purcell. His name was included in my conversation. So I'm confused. I have this copy right here.
I will say that the police department is not in charge of the meeting. Mayor McCall, the village president, is in charge of the board.
That's what they sent me yesterday. That's the same one? So I'm just confused because that's not what I got from Brendan Kelly or the Attorney General's office.
Okay, Chief, I believe you've answered the question, correct? Okay. Mr. Deers, if you have any other questions, please just feel free to contact the village hall tomorrow, or if you'd like to discuss, just put your questions, your comments in writing.
So we still have to submit in writing.
At this time, we're gonna move forward.
Okay,
Thank you,
that's,
Mr. Deers.
I'll be calling the Attorney General's office.
Okay, no report from the village attorney, no unfinished business, new business here. We do have an ordinance here, ordinance 16-1323, an ordinance adopting an identity protection policy pursuant to the Illinois Identity Protection Act. Basically what this is that it provides the village of Cahokia with the Identity Protection Act requires each local and state government agency in Illinois to draft, approve, and implement an identity protection policy to ensure the confidentiality and integrity of social security numbers that agencies collect, maintain, and use. And so every municipality should have this, and if they don't, they should adopt this policy because it helps out with the identity theft, as we know that it's running rapid throughout the United States and everywhere else. And so we bring this to the table tonight, and hopefully I can get more approval. At this time, I need a motion and a second for approval, please. So moved, motion by trustee Pearson, second by trustee Bradford. Roll call, please.
Pearson.
Yes.
Bradford.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Ware.
Yes.
Approved. Business license, we have none today. Executive session, we don't have any executive session. And at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and call for an adjournment.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, ma'am, we're gonna get through the business. We can talk afterwards.
Well, I was gonna talk about the business license, because I put an application, I applied for one, was it last month's meeting as well?
I realize that, Mrs. Robeson, we were trying to get in contact with you so we could have a meeting.
We had a meeting after
And,
the,
we will talk, we'll have to set up another meeting so we can discuss. And at this time, it's not on the agenda.
but I turned in another application on Friday when I was supposed to, with all the information that was required of me from the last meeting. So I gave it in enough time for it to be on the agenda. So
Right,
I'm
but
not
there was
sure.
some other concerns that I needed to address with you. I wanted to have another meeting with you before this gets put on the agenda. So let's just set up another meeting and then we'll go in. Okay? At this time, I'm gonna set up, go ahead and call for a motion and a second for adjournment. The time right now is 5:54. Motion by Pearson, second by Radford.
Pearson.
Yes.
Bradford. Yes. Wolford. Nichols.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Ware.
Meeting adjourned.